Let's start with Confluence. We're going to go through the basics of Confluence. Confluence is a very, very powerful wiki tool or documentation tool. And it's as powerful as you want to make it. It's used for presentations, it's used for gathering technical data, for decisions, for product roadmaps, and a lot of those things. I'll just go through the basics here so that we can start our day-to-day activities. And as you get more familiar with it, we will start using the more advanced features of it. So the way Confluence is broken up is into spaces. A space is basically let's say different areas of knowledge. So, for example, a space would be onboarding. Another space would be product. Another space might be technical. Another space might be what's it called? My personal space. So in my personal space, for example, I can only I can create documents that only I want to read and no one else. Maybe I use it for making sure that all my tasks are being completed, right? So if you need to create a space, so first, how do you get to Confluence? So if you're at Jira or any of those, you can click the hamburger menu and go to Confluence. Again, Confluence will bring you to your main dashboard. It is customizable for everybody. Let's go through the navigation. So the way Confluence is built on spaces, and each space has each page can have children pages and so on and so forth. You have a full navigation menu on the left side. These are some to discover new pages or whatever is going on or a lot of people are reading. Stuff that you've worked on. These are your favorite spaces. So I'll show you how to make them your favorites and they'll start appearing over here. I generally like to keep this small. I generally just click on onboarding or product and I know exactly where to go. If I need to create another space, I would just create the create space button. This would allow me to create a personal space, blank space, documentation space, software project space, team space, knowledge space, right? So all of them are technically the same, just different templates of different information. So for example, a documentation space would be made for technical documentations, right? So let's say technical documentation. So over here, basically, it's created the space. I have a page tree over here. It's telling me a little bit about itself, but in general, it's actually almost the same thing as all the other spaces. Just maybe slight tweaked here and there, just a little different template. Otherwise, it's exactly the same thing. Another type of space we could create is, another type of space we could create is personal space. So let's do that. Let's create a personal space. Again, nothing new here. Is just to keep things either personal to yourself, or have task management to yourself, or if we're going to have a meeting, you want to jot down some notes or points. We can use this for that. So this is my personal space, right? So I can include it as my homepage. I can secure pages. I can do restrictions on pages. I can export to PDF. Let's say I made a document that I want to distribute to everyone. I can export it as a PDF, and so on and so forth. Or as I like to generally do is I like to create based on a template actually. So let's close this one. I like to create. So if I click the three dots, it'll give me options for creating. I used to like to create. Let's see here, task report. In my project, my tasks. And basically, this would help me manage all my tasks. So for example, anything I want to add or subtract, I'd keep it over here so it helps me remember things on what I need to do. But nothing special. It's essentially a page with a macro in it, nothing more than that. So let's go to spaces that are more relevant. Let me delete the spaces that I've just created. We might need these later, or we can create them later. I just didn't want to create things from the test. All right, so I'm going back. So we have currently two spaces, and this is, of course, my own personal space. Let's go to the onboarding space. Over here, I like to keep all the information regarding when someone joins a team, what are the basic elements they should know. All the documentation is generally kept over here. So generally, essentially what it is, let's say I wanted to create something in the artboarding space. I would say create my new page. If I want to add a table or do formatting, I can do it all over here. Let's say I want to do a task item. Let's say we were creating a version checklist. So basically, before releasing a product, we want to do a version checklist, right? So let's say version 1.0 release checklist. The checklist to follow before release. Make sure all passwords are encrypted. Do a clean on any log files. Push to main server. Branch for maintenance release. And so on and so forth. Right? Similarly, we could create other items. For example, we could add macros, files, links, symbols, emotions, emoticons, markups, anything we wanted. Maybe we wanted to add about, we want to make a whole list of issues. So let's say Mubashir wanted to show us a status report on how many defects do we have and how are we progressing on them and stuff like that. He could create a filter over here for all the defects that have not been triaged in the last 3 days. So on and so forth. Similarly, we have even more macros. Again, I told you, Confluence is a very powerful tool. So we can use it for roadmaps, for example, geo roadmaps, roadmap planner, and so on and so forth. There's a ton of macros that we can use with Confluence. To keep it simple, though, I'll just leave it at this task list and say save. So it created a simple page. I can do these tasks the same way I did before. People can come and comment on them. People can watch them the same way in Jira. So whenever a task is done, whoever's watching will get alerted. I can save for later, share, and do a ton of other things. If I'm the owner of this page, I can even restrict to who can see this. So basically, viewing and editing restricted. So I can say who can view this and who can edit this. So if it's let's say app IDs or something that we do not want to give out, so it might be restricted to only certain developers, and so on and so forth. For now, I'm just going to delete this page, and we're done. So that's the basic concept of Confluence. You can create as many pages as you want. Let's, for simplicity, say we wanted to create a space. Documentation space for technical documentation. Generally, this is the home page of this page. So what I like to do is first, so this is the favorite button. So I made this my favorite. So whenever I have in my left toolbar, it will always come up. I'm going to edit this template. I do not require this whole layout. So what I'm going to do is choose page layout, remove all the sections, and page layout. And I'm just going to add a macro here to show child pages. Right? I like a simple home page. Nothing special about it. So basically, whenever I create a page under this space, it will just keep listing them over here. I do not require this page, the getting started page. So what I'm going to do is edit, go here and same with making a template. I'm just going to delete this page. All right, so there's no more pages under this technical documentation. So let's say I wanted to create a page for APIs. We're going to create a page which describes all the API points for Flyway Hub. So these are going to be things that different clients can consume. So now under this APIs, I'm going to create another page. So you can notice here technical documentation, pages, technical documentation, APIs, right? So under this, I'm going to create page saying user, it's called version 1. So these are all version 1 APIs. And in version 1, I'm going to create an API called user login. Parameters accepted, JSON. Or actually, get parameters. Username, password, return, parameters, JSON. I do not require a macro, so let's just get rid of this. Okay. And I've saved this. So now, when we're at APIs, so pages, documentation, so we go to APIs, we can see it's over here. I'd rather create, again, a child macro in the end. So now, version 1, again, I'm going to create a child macro over here. And user login, and these are all the parameters. So for example, from a technical perspective, this will help us organize all our APIs, and so on and so forth. And that's the end of the basics of Confluence.